I've been using a lot of cases I've dealt with, and I thought it'll be useful to the students. They'll be able to understand and connect to it. So I think that would be useful. And if there's any question from your side, any of you can pose to me by the time the students will join in. And one thing, Pawan, what I understood, is it a weekly webinars you're organizing?
We plan to do it like at least once every 2 weeks for well-being.
Okay, fine. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Depending on the exams and depending on other things, we want to
Yes,
keep this
yes.
continuation going so that people understand the importance and yeah,
Okay.
the different topics.
So what you're trying to tell is even after a fortnight from now, you would like topics related to well-being, right?
Yes.
Okay, okay, fine. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think now in the COVID situation, I think this is very relevant. And after this particular presentation, also, I would like to have a discussion and try to ask students to apply this. One thing I would really want the students is to interact with me and I would like it to be interactive. So I would like the students to participate in these discussions, and as questions are asked, I would like them to give me the answers that will become more interesting rather than it just being one speaker speaking. Right, Pawan?
Sure, ma'am.
I
Sure,
would
ma'am.
like it to be very interactive. I hope the students who already joined, I hope you can understand this. And any questions and then also additions also. I feel all this is a learning process. And if you have any additions after I finish my topic, you can make a note of it and add it on to this list of psychological well-being components. So even that would be very welcome.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Okay.
Are we opening it now, Shubham, for rest of the students, or it's already open?
It's already open, Pavan. And I've also started live streaming. So yeah.
Okay. Then without further ado, I think I'll give the floor to Madhu, and then we can take over from there, Madhumita. Madhumita, you're here?
Yeah, I am.
Your voice is not... yeah.
Yes. Yes, it's not very clear.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Please
Now,
speak louder, Madhumita.
ma'am, I've connected it to the earphones and I've kept the mic close. Is it still not that clear?
It's very faint, your voice. Your voice is very faint, Madhumita.
Is it fine now?
Yeah, it's better. It's better. Yeah, it's
Okay.
audible. Thank you.
Okay, can I continue?
Yes, please.
Okay, so hey everyone, this is Madhumita, your fellow BMSITN. I know everyone is going through some or the other crisis right now, and the days seem a little longer nowadays. But hey, this is the time where every one of us come together as a community to get through this. So let's hear from our counselor on reducing the stigma of mental healthness and the factors on physical well-being. So, ma'am, I welcome you here. Today's speaker is Mrs. Chetana Srinivas. Ma'am holds a degree of MSc Counseling, MA Psychology, and Diploma in Counseling. She has a work experience of around 25 years right now. That includes 10 years of teaching and 15 years of counseling. She has also previously worked in FOs and Herbal Montfort University. Me and my team are glad to have you, ma'am. Ma'am, the stage is all yours.
Thank you so much for the introduction. So good afternoon, dear audience. I'm grateful to Mr. Pawan for having organized this presentation, and also Simran and Madhumita, Syed, and the other person's name. Also, thank you so much for organizing this. And I chose this topic, actually, Pawan and me, we discussed, and I thought this is a very relevant topic for all ages. And I'm sure all of you are in different levels of psychological well-being. So today my topic will be with psychological well-being. I'll be discussing the meaning and components for improving your psychological well-being. So to start with the definition, am I audible? And am I audible? Hello, is it clear? You can hear me?
Yes, ma'am, it's
Yeah,
very
it's
clear.
very clear.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Okay. The phrase psychological well-being, and one request at any point of time, if any of the audience you have a doubt, please unmute yourself and you can pose questions to me. So I'll start with the definition. The phrase psychological well-being is used to describe the individual's emotional health and overall functioning. And this was advocated by psychologist Carol Reif. And people with high psychological well-being report feeling very happy and satisfied in life. The importance: people with psychological well-being enjoy a better quality of life, a healthier and longer life. Now, to stop, I would like to share one experience. Recently, what happened was we had a birthday celebration, my children's 25th birthday. I have twins, so it was probably a week back. So I would like to share my experience of psychological well-being related to this particular incident. So in the birthday party, we had a small birthday party with selected guests, that is selected relations. They cut the cake and I prepared sweets and a very sumptuous lunch. And after this, we played games and we interacted and had a lot of fun. So and after this, I just paused for some time and I was trying to understand and see how I felt. And I understood after pausing and reflecting that I was experiencing high psychological well-being. So mainly psychological well-being here, the two components I would like to share is about your thoughts and emotions. So I was feeling very happy. My emotion was that of elation, and I was feeling very positive. Oh, what a wonderful day. And so this is with the positive incidents and an experience of psychological well-being. I would like to share another one where I experienced negativity and very low psychological well-being. It was again probably a few days back. This incident happened at home with one of my family members. We had an argument and we had a lot of disagreements on a particular topic. So this irritated me and I was feeling very distressed. And again, at that point of time, I waited, I paused and reflected, and I understood that it was a lot of distress. And I lived through this negativity for almost 4 to 5 hours. And by evening, I had decided, I communicated to my family member. We had a discussion and worked through the differences of opinion. So again, here, what I would like to share was at this point of time, my emotion was negative. I was feeling very angry, and also my thought was very negative. So this is an experience of actually very less, minimum psychological well-being with lot of negativity. So I'm sure all of you go through this phases. Like in a day, there are some days which you experience high psychological well-being, some days it's moderate, and some days it's low. But still, what I would like to share in the following slide is how you can empower yourself to improve your psychological well-being using the components which I will be discussing. Now, this is very, very important, how we function. So we all function on the level of thought, emotion, and behavior. And here, I would like you to remember the previous incidents I shared. So the birthday example, the environment was birthday. So it was a positive thought, positive emotion, and the behavior related was also positive. Whereas the disagreement situation, which was negative, again, it happened in environment. There was a negative thought, negative emotion, and negative behavior. So what I would like to share to all of you is there's always a stimulus, there's always a trigger in the environment which creates thoughts, emotions, and behavior. Now, this thought factor, here I will be sharing how you can manage your thoughts in a more positive manner. And actually, you need to understand that we have around 70,000 to 80,000 thoughts per day. And it's very surprising. Yes, this is what the psychologists have shared. And most of the thoughts we experience are negative. And if you have 10 situations or 10 incidents happening, if there is one negative and 9 positive, you will remember more of the negative incidents rather than the positive. Now, why is this? But it's very surprising, and you need to understand, because we are wired as human beings, we are wired for negativity. Our ancestors, you're aware, they lived in caves, they were in the forest, and they had lot of negative, they had to encounter a lot of negative incidents. Like they had to, I think, fight with the wild animals, find their own food. And because of this, they were always in a state of preparedness or negativity, waiting for the unseen things to happen. But now we can understand the positive element of psychology is that you can create positive thoughts. Now, how can we create positive thoughts? The first one is by the experience of gratitude. I'm sure all of you are aware of the meaning of gratitude. Can any one of you unmute and give me the meaning of gratitude? What you understand? Anyone in the audience? Can you share what you understand by the meaning of gratitude? It's a very common and an important word.
Being thankful for what we have in life.
Yes, yes, very good. Thank you. So being appreciative and being thankful for what you have. For example, probably yesterday I was practicing gratitude in a journal I was mentioning. In this COVID times, probably having a roof over my head, the food I'm getting to eat, and also being healthy. I think that was my gratitude connotations yesterday, what I practiced. So probably if all of you could practice gratitude at the end of the day for any at least one or two factors, what you're experiencing, that would create a lot of positivity, positive emotions. The second one is about forgiveness. And this is also very, very important. You all understand that we do encounter situations in which a person cheats us or lies to us or causes lot of distress. And in those situations, it becomes very negative. And probably we stop talking to the person, or we give back, we have an argument with the person. And when this happens, what happens? There's a lot of negativity which engulfs us. And we are always thinking negative of the person. And our energy is concentrated on this negativity. I remember an incident. I think it was a year back that I had an argument with one of my relations. And we had a lot of differences in opinion. And she was being very dominating. So I stopped talking to her for a year. And I remember every time I remembered her, I used to feel very negative and very angry. But then sitting down when I attended a workshop and webinar, and when this topic was discussed, I realized forgiving is very important. When you forgive the person, you tend to move forward, you tend to move on, and that negativity is released, and you can concentrate on better aspects of life. So that was my personal experience. The next one is challenging negative thoughts. Now, I'm sure all of you do encounter situations in which you receive appreciation sometimes, but there may also be situations in which you are scolded, or there's a person who's giving you a negative comment. Like I remember one student sharing with me, a student Rajesh, and every time I use a student's name to protect confidentiality, I'm using a different name. And throughout this program, I will be sharing a few cases, and which is applicable to that particular component. So this particular student Rajesh was sharing with me that he was feeling very negative for the past 1 week. And when I asked him why, he shared that it was because of his mother. She was comparing him with his friend. This was because of academics. He had scored low in his test, probably in the 60s or 70s, and his friend was in the 90s. So she was asking him that you have all the positive conditions at home, and why is it that you're scoring low? So he was sharing that he felt very negative because of this. And actually, I suggested this. How he could manage the thoughts positively by challenging his negative thoughts. I told him, see, you've done well at 60 and 70 is okay. Next time you can do better. Try to challenge these thoughts. Try to tell yourself, no, I mean, it's fine. Like, I'm doing good and I can do better. And over a period of time, probably after about 4 or 5 days of this, using this technique, he felt better. And also the deep point is recalling positive events. Probably whenever you're feeling low or you're feeling a little negative, if you can sit down and recall the positive events in your life. Like for example, I remember the day of my marriage, the day my children were born, and the day I graduated, the first day of my job in BMSIT. All these are the positive events I sometimes sit down and recall in times of negativity or in times of distress. Emotions, you're all aware that emotion is an expression of how you feel, and it's expressed through your face, through your body, and body language, through non-verbal expressions also. And you're aware of the three emotions: positive, neutral, negative. So positive, you know, it is about happiness, elation, ecstasy. Neutral is just having no positive or negative feeling, and negative, you know, is about jealousy, hatred, anger. Now, these emotions play a very important part in our life. It's very important to create positive emotional states. And this can be done by deep breathing. And also, this is a very important technique. It's also called psychological first aid. I repeat, psychological first aid. This is very important in times like before an interview, or before, for example, you have a very important condition like your viva, or you're in a distressed condition. Practicing these three techniques, the first and the second one, will help you to reach a state of emotional balance. The first one is deep breathing. What happens when you take deep breaths? When you take a deep breath, there is more supply of oxygen to the brain and you tend to feel better. And the second one is practice of appropriate positive affirmations, which should be in the present tense. That is, for example, you're in a situation and you're feeling a little stressed because you have an exam tomorrow. You can just tell yourself, relax, calm down, I'm studying, I'm doing good. And these two techniques, a lot of my students, probably about 20 to 25 of my students have shared, they have found it to be beneficial in distressing times. So again, I repeat, this deep breathing and practice of positive affirmations are very powerful techniques which all of you could use in times of distress. And the healthy expression of emotion is very, very essential. I'll just give you an example. If you hold a glass of water in your hand, stretched hands for about 5 minutes, it's okay. And if you hold it for about 1 hour, you may feel it slightly heavy. But if you hold this glass of water for probably more than 2 hours, your hands will start aching. So this is an analogy I would like to share with you. It's about how you hold on to your emotions. Okay, if you have a lot of negative emotions, okay, it's like a bucket which is full and it starts overflowing at a point of time. Okay, so if you keep on holding on to a lot of negativity in your with yourself, then what happens? It could actually turn into mental health issues. So it's very important to empty out the bucket of negative emotions. Now, how can this be done? The first very important technique is sharing. When you're feeling gone through maybe a sad day and in which you have probably you lost a loved person, and maybe it's your grandmother, and then you sit down and you're feeling very sad, you're crying. If you can share it with a person you're very close to, whom you can relate, who empathizes with you, for example your mother or your best friend, or even you can write it in a journal. I remember a student who used this technique of journaling. So every time he had this negative emotion, he used to make a note of it and write it. And when he transferred it to paper, he shared that he felt much better. So either of the techniques, a sharing technique with the loved ones or a journaling, I think this really helps. And also there's another very important technique. One student by the name of Ranjan was sharing that he had a lot of hatred for his roommate because he kept creating a lot of disturbances. So I told him the simplest technique is trying to release that anger. And he used to go to the gym and working out in the gym. That helped him. And also like probably punching. It's a very funny funny thing, but probably when he also told me like when he used the technique of punching the pillows, imagining it was his friend, he felt much better. So these are the simple but very useful techniques you could utilize to regulate your emotions, because emotions are important, and every day you go through different emotions, maybe positive, neutral, and negative. So these are some of the pictures I've included. That is a recall of positive life events, performing acts of kindness, practicing mindfulness, and expression of gratitude. Mindfulness is also another very important technique of meditation, in which you try to focus all your consciousness on one particular activity you're doing. That is, you're absorbing yourself into that activity. For example, to give you an example, I'd go for walks sometimes in the park, and one evening I was trying to practice this, going for a walk, enjoying the nature, and trying to smell the flowers, and trying to see and enjoy the beauty of the flowers and the plants there. So mindfulness also releases a lot of positive hormones. It releases it helps you to understand and enjoy the positivity of life, mindfulness. And there are a lot of programs which are happening, and probably I'll share it with the coordinators. You can attend. There's one actually mindfulness program which is going to happen shortly, so I'll share the details. If any of you are interested, you can join. Now, forging healthy relationships. This is very important aspect. This is also another core element of psychological well-being. You all know that man is social by nature, and we have these relationships satisfy our needs. It may be a physical need, like a physiological need for food, water. This, I think, your mother's prepares tasty food every day, and all your physical needs are satisfied. And the psychological needs are very important. Need for love and support. So this was actually given by a psychologist, Maslow. He said the need for belongingness is very, very important. So that when you experience, for example, love of your mother hugs you, and you share warm relationships. You're sharing uh, words related to love. I think that makes you feel very good, and again, it releases a lot of positive hormones. Okay, so please try to work a lot on this um, factor. So, and this can be this belongingness and a need for love can be created by the techniques which I'm going to share now. So, first one is communication techniques. I remember an incident in which the child expressed to his mother that he was not feeling good, and again when she asked, he shared that he felt that the mother was comparing him and his sibling, and this was done through words and through actions. And then the mother realized her folly, her mistake, and she became more reciprocative to that particular child. So probably sometimes it happens that the other person in the relationship is not aware of the disturbances. So this the communication is a very good technique to share how you're feeling, what are your emotions, and work through for better relationships. And this is also very useful in marital relationship, a husband and wife or a newly married couple. When they work on this communication techniques, life becomes more beautiful for them. Letting go of toxicity, this is very, very important. And sometimes what happens is, there is a particular incident which leaves a bad it leaves a bad elements on you. Okay, it leaves a lot of toxicity, it creates a lot of toxicity in you. I remember one student, Rajini. I will just share this incident. Rajni was sharing that she had a very good friend, Ramani. Rajani and Ramani were very good friends, but Rajani understood that Ramani was being very dominating, And over a period of time, though she tried to communicate this, her friend didn't understand. So what she did was she thought it's better to move forward away from this friendship. So she just told her on one day that I'm moving forward. And after I think after she left the friendship, she felt much better, and all her toxicity decreased. So when you're not comfortable in a relationship, in a friendship, it is probably best to move on. And this also happens. I remember recently reading an article in which the film actor Kamala Hassan and uh, I think Kamala Hassan and Sarika, they went in for a divorce. So their daughter Shruti was sharing that she felt that divorce was the best thing, because as human beings they're very good, they were happy, but together as a marital couple, they experienced a lot of distress, and the children were affected. So probably letting go of toxicity also is a very important factor. And the third important factor is the practice of assertiveness when domination occurs. What happens is, sometimes it happens in the context of friendships, it may happen in the context of marital relationships and other extended relationship also. When one person is trying to dominate the other person, I think the second person should use the techniques of assertiveness to make the other person, to make the first person who's dominating understand that this is not right. So assertiveness is a very powerful tool which can be worked with and help to resolve these domination issues. This personal growth, I think, is a very important factor for students, for all of us. That is about how you maximize your potential through gaining knowledge and new skills. So this is actually a self-actualization need by Maslow, not Madlow, sorry, Maslow. So now, how do you do this? Now, dear students, now in times of COVID, you're aware that you left with the time you were used for commuting can be used for acquiring and gaining knowledge. You have a various plethora of platforms. You have Coursera, NPTEL courses, and also a lot of languages. And one student was mentioning even Stanford University is offering very good courses. So if you can enroll and try to learn new knowledge and skills, that will make you more professional and more powerful. Even I, in this COVID periods, I'm trying to attend a lot of webinars, and I'm finding it very satisfying on advanced counseling and a topic like I think in another 2 days, I'm planning to attend a mindfulness workshop. I'm also trying to hone my knowledge and skills so that I can become a more thorough professional. And this is a very important need. The self-actualization need is the meaning is when you try to maximize your potential, you're at the highest rung of the ladder. You feel a sense of satisfaction. And I think there is, and I remember one person, a very important person, sharing that when you stop learning, that is the end. So, till the time we are alive, I think the need for learning and improving our knowledge and skills is very, very important. And this is also a factor which will give you a lot of well-being. This will contribute, personal growth contributes to well-being. Altruism. It is the random acts of kindness without expectation. It creates satisfaction and internal happiness. An example would be providing lunch for the beggar. And altruism also can be practiced at home when you're kind to your servant. As soon as probably when she's there, when she's working, if you can provide her with hot coffee when she enters your house, or even looking after your family members, students, like probably when your mother's tired of a hard day's work, trying to lay the table or clearing the table. These small acts, I also really appreciate it when after dinner, when I'm tired, my daughter helps me to clear the kitchen or clear the table. It makes me feel very satisfied. So I think this is another very important factor. And the important factor here is when you do it for internal happiness without expectations. See, the problem arises when you have expectations. You do a good and you expect good. But this altruism is without expectations. And there's another saying, there's another word, there's another sentence which says you do good and it comes back to good to you. So when you're doing good, probably there's a point of time when someone else does good for you, and you really understand, yes, this is what life is about doing good. I think self-acceptance is very important. Now, what is the meaning of the concept of self? The concept of self refers to our awareness of what we are, that is both our strength and also our weaknesses. So in self-acceptance, it's very important to accept by reflecting, and you have to accept both the positive and negative aspects of yourself. All of you understand that no one is perfect. You need to work on yourself and try to a certain extent, reduce the negative aspects, and also feel happy with, try to dwell and appreciate your positive qualities and elements, because that will give you a lot of inner strength, and it will make you feel very, very positive. So again, there was this psychologist by the name of Carl Rogers who explained this. And self-acceptance also, it also, your concept of self comes from your experiences life, and also from your experiences with your family members, and probably even college with your teachers, with friends. They all probably contribute to different aspects of yourself. To give you an example, in a family, there was this particular person. Her name is Meena, and she was sharing with me that her concept of self. She was telling me it's very positive because her parents, they appreciate her positive qualities. For example, her kindness or sharing qualities, and even in college, when she answers the question, the teacher is appreciative of her academics. So probably how you understand yourself and reflect on your positive and negative self leads to self-acceptance. And here I would also like to share is about yourself. Please nurture yourself and provide self-care to yourself. Provide self-care. Self-care comes about with loving and caring for yourself, indulging in activities you enjoy. For example, it may be an art activity, or listening to music, dancing, any activity which you enjoy. So this is very important. Nourishment for the self is also a very, very important component of psychological well-being. Now, environmental mastery. So this reflects to how you're going to master your environment with the resources you have. There are two aspects of environmental mastery. In the first one, it reflects to how you use the resources in the environment to control and master your environment. To give you a simple example, it may be about a housewife who takes the uh, assistance of her maid to get the work done, probably in cooking or cleaning the house. Or for a student, it may be trying to use the resources in the environment, for example, learning a new language from Coursera. And also for a principal, probably delegating his responsibility to his teachers and to his secretary. So this is about one aspect of environmental mastery. The second one also relates to, there are three types of environment: positive, negative, and neutral. A positive environment in which you have tend to feel a lot of positive vibes. For example, in your family itself, in your home, sitting with your family loved members, you tend to experience a lot of positivity by interactions and sharing. A negative environment is the opposite. Suppose you go to one of your relations' house, and when you start the interaction, and you understand there is some toxicity in that. They're trying to extract information, or they're trying to put you down, and they're not being very open and honest with how they're expressing themselves. When you tend to feel negative, I think it's important for you to exit from the environment by giving an excuse. So this is about environmental mastery. So with this, I finished one topic, that is psychological well-being. Now I have one question for you. I have actually not included two very important factors. I thought I would like to get it from the audience. I would like you to think and share. So dear students, I mean, anyone in the audience, can you share any two important factors which you think are still very important for psychological well-being? It's okay, please try to make a guess. It's okay. Even if it is wrong, it is okay to make a guess. Two very, very important factors which contributes to psychological well-being. I haven't included. I thought I would have a discussion with you about it. Yes, anyone from the audience? Please do make an attempt. It's okay if it's right or wrong. Yes, I'm waiting. Please do think and tell me any other two very important components which could add to the psychological well-being.
Ma'am, ability to handle peer pressure.
Okay, can you share another sentence? Very good. Yes. Your name, please.
Likita, ma'am.
Yes, Likita. Thank you. Yes, can you please share, Likita?
Share a sentence, another one.
Yeah, no, the same thing. Can you just elaborate a little? You said your ability to handle peer pressure. Okay. So how do you think you can handle peer pressure, Likita?
Well, the first thing I feel we have to realize is that we are not competing with anyone because we all have different goals. What we have to focus on is that how we can improve from what we were yesterday.
Yes.
So, I mean, it is easy to say, but very hard to practice. So, I think, as we grow, that's what we have to keep doing unless we, master it.
Yes, very true, Likita. Very good. Thank you so much, Likita, for sharing. I appreciate it. I would like to add two more factors. See, psychology, one important concept of psychology is individual differences exist in all areas, in our areas of thinking, personality, intelligence. So it's very important to understand that everyone is not the same. Hence, the world is so interesting. So with your peers also, okay, so there are a lot of differences in all the areas I've shared. So trying to become being more sensitive to the to your peer group and probably being more empathetic. Okay, I think that will help you to reduce the peer pressure. I would just like to share an example here, a story actually, and this you can actually relate it to your peers. There was a daughter-in-law who was always complaining about her mother-in-law. She always kept telling her family members her mother-in-law is very strict and rude, and she was very unhappy. So she went and consulted a sage. She said, "I want to get rid of my mother-in-law. Please help me." So he asked her for all the details, and after it was shared, he gave her a certain pills. He said, "Give it to your mother-in-law every night after dinner." So, and also you need to speak one or two kind words. Understand she will be living for another month only. So what happened was she did this, the daughter-in-law did this. She used to go and give the pill, this particular pill after dinner, and she used to talk to her very kindly. And after a month or during the month, she realized that her mother-in-law also became very kind and very encouraging and supportive towards her. So towards the end of the month, she rushed back to the sage and said, "No, I want my mother-in-law to live. I don't want her to die. Everything is perfect now. We're having very good relationship." So what I would like to tell you is, in case of small differences, if you're nice to your peers, good and kind, probably they will also reflect the same, Likita. Okay, thank you. Anyone else? There are another two very important components of psychological well-being. Yes, one was what Likita shared. There are two more still. Can anyone share? As I
And stress management.
sorry,
Stress management.
stress management. Yeah, okay. Yeah, even that is good what you said. That's a broader area. Yes, true. How you manage your stress also is an important component of psychological well-being. And this topic, what you shared, I think we will take it up as another topic for the webinar because it's a very wide topic with lot of factors. But good. Yes, thank you. Your good name?
Ma'am Ritika.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, anyone else? Any that two more very important components? Can you please share? I'm still waiting.
Purpose and meaning to life.
Can you elaborate your good name?
This is Karunya, ma'am.
Okay, sorry,
Karunya.
Karunya. Oh, very nice name. Okay, thanks, Karunya. Yes, living a life with purpose and objective. Can you elaborate what you know?
Yes, ma'am. So,
Yeah.
as a student, if we know where we have to reach in life, it can divert our mind and help us focus on it.
Yes, very good, very good. And can you relate it to one component which I have discussed? Can you relate this living a life with purpose to the one component I've already discussed now? Self mastery. Okay, it is close to
Yes.
it. Okay, it's almost related. So along with self-mastery, probably, as you said, have living life with a purpose. That would be life more meaningful, and your psychological well-being would definitely increase. Thank you so much. Any more? Any two more? I'm still waiting. Two more very important factors which will contribute to your psychological well-being. Okay, the first one is about your physical well-being. Now, how can you create physical well-being? Yes, anyone in the audience? How can you work on your physical well-being? How can you promote your health? In other words, by indulging in what? Dash, dash, and dash. Okay, it's by indulging in your any activities, maybe visiting the gym, which is not possible right now. So probably if you can perform yoga, meditation, and pranayama regularly. And if you're not aware of this, it's okay. At least if you can do simple exercises, at least for half an hour in a day, in which all your body parts receive exercise, because you need to understand the body and the mind are connected, and your thoughts, whatever you think, will affect your body and vice versa. So whatever the actions of the like for example, doing these exercises will release lot of positive hormones. Okay, I think it's serotonin. So what happens when the positive hormones are released, you tend to feel very, very good. You tend to feel positive. Okay, so this was another very important factor I was thinking of. And and spirituality again, that is it's a very subjective and controversial component, but it depends upon your belief. For example, I believe in God and I do puja regularly, and it gives me a lot of peace. So if you believe in God or a supreme power, and if you can indulge in any form of activity to satisfy this spiritual need, you're welcome. So I would like to just close on this, but also there's another small important thing I wanted to share with you: how you can relate the psychological well-being, whatever I've shared now, to the COVID times. So what else can be done in this COVID times to improve your psychological well-being? You know that you're just confined to your house, and you're just seeing your family members. You can only talk to your friends, and I can understand, even I'm experiencing that loss of social contact. So in this COVID times, what else? What are the other 2, 3 factors you can do to enhance your well-being? Okay, I will just share the first one. I haven't prepared a slide. I thought I'll just share it with you. The first one is, please try to develop a routine for yourself. This is very, very important, dear students, because you have online classes, and I think it's from 8:30 to 4:30 or till afternoon. And some of you tell me you wake up and just sit in front of your laptops. Please don't do that. Develop a proper routine, a schedule, where you have, at least if you can start your day with half an hour of some physical exercise. It will keep you energized throughout the day. And since you're sitting, it's a sedentary activity for almost 4 to 5 hours. You need physical exercise to keep you in good health and to provide also immunity. Please prioritize your day, plan your day ahead, because this is, I think, the golden period for all of you. For those who want to learn, enhance your knowledge, plan your day so that it proves to be useful. And also concentrate on self-care. This is very important. I told you, in a day, for 1 hour, you can indulge in activities you enjoy. It may be cooking, or it may be gardening, or some art activities. Recently, I was seeing a lot of programs are being organized in art-related therapy and activities, especially this mandala drawing. They say it reduces stress, and doing painting pictures, it helps to release the stress. There's one student of mine in one of the semesters, and his name is Ratan, and he was sharing that he writes poetry and it helps him to feel really relaxed. So please try to indulge in activities which are creative, which would create a lot of internal peace and increase your psychological well-being. So dear audience, dear students, do you have any questions related to this? I'll be moving to the next topic about reducing stigma related to counseling. Is there any add-ons? Do you still feel? So I've tried to cover the major factors or components of psychological well-being. I've explained psychological well-being. It's very important for you to feel good, happy in your life, and the various components. It's about it's about managing your thoughts, emotion, behavior. It's about acceptance. Sorry, it's about environmental mastery, about altruism, and self-acceptance. So these are the very important factors contributing to psychological well-being. Any questions you have? Any doubts? Any add-ons? Just wait for 2 minutes before I proceed to the next topic. If you have any questions or any additions to be made or any clarifications, please ask.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a question in the chat box.
Okay, I can't see the chat box. Can you please share? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll read it out now.
Yeah.
So the question is like, how do we manage the disturbances at home that come with lockdown? Like, how do we create a boundary that is understandable and is respected by family members?
Okay. So the question is, how do you manage the disturbances which occur at home now during the lockdown period?
Yeah, ma'am. Like, basically, we are bound to live alone, kind of, and during lockdown, since everyone is at home, so
Yes.
at times we feel that we need privacy. So how do we, like, let them know that I need some time for myself, and how we can
Okay.
ask them to, maintain some boundaries, how we can
Yes.
respectfully ask them.
Yes, very true. Okay, I think I've included this in my webinar topic. That's about, I think one is about the communication, which has to be done in a very honest and in a very, it has to be done in an honest manner. If the person is experiencing, the student is experiencing any sort of a distress or disturbance with a particular family member, probably if you can communicate this in a very honest manner, that will help. And also probably communicate, I mean, having trying to establish more contact with friends, which will make you feel better, because now you have various mediums, no, you have DO and then WhatsApp video calls. So if you maintain a lot of connections, because that is what I understand many students are missing. So if you can establish contacts with your friends, I think that will also help you to minimize the disturbance. But here the very important factor is about communication, and also practicing assertiveness when you feel there's a domination. Okay, any other questions in the chat box?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So Likita is asking that what are a few determiners I should look for in my daily routine to evaluate myself?
Can you please repeat the question? What are the
Yeah, ma'am.
few? Yeah.
Determiners I should look for in my daily routine to evaluate myself. Like, at the end of the day, like, how can we evaluate that? Like, how can we evaluate ourselves?
Okay.
We go through a lot of things, and how can we know that, like, what we
Yeah,
have done is good or bad?
very nice question. I think a very important question, a very thought reflecting question is posed. Thank you so much. I feel for this, it's very important, probably, if you can have a proper plan, if you can plan for the day, for the next day, and if you can plan it, academic plans and any other plans you have. Okay, so when you try to, at the end of the day, when you see your plan and the activities you had planned, how much you are able to complete, and you can then probably you'll feel that a sense of satisfaction. Okay, if you're able to finish like about at least 80% of what you had planned, so that I think is a good indicator you're moving in the right direction. And also this can also happen with certain emotional issues. Even that, probably, if you can, I told you, having a sort of a journal and writing it down and reflecting, that will give you a proper perspective to what is happening. I think that is also a very good technique, journaling technique. So in journaling, at the end of the day, you sit down and just try to reflect on the whole day, which I explained in the first example, and you mention what is it, what were your thoughts and emotions for the day, and how did it go, and if there's some distress, try to reflect on it. Why did it happen? Who was the cause, and what was your reaction to it, and what was your role there? Those will provide you very good perspectives to understand yourself and understand to what extent you have achieved what you had planned. So what I'm trying to tell you, dear students, is please have plans, because plans, they give a sense of concreteness, and you're also able to do an evaluation. So don't do any mental plans, have physical plans, write it down in a book or diary, and try to later at the end of the day, go through it and see how much you're able to achieve. And it's okay if you're not achieved, try to have it as an activity for the next day. Okay. Yes, any more questions in the chat box? Please share. I can't see the chat box.
Yeah, ma'am. One more question from myself. Like, with
Yeah.
everything going on right now,
Yes.
we sometimes tend to, have
Yes.
self-doubt, and we think that we aren't worth of doing anything. So, is there anything that we can do to, or like remove all the self-doubt we have on?
Okay, self-doubt. Okay, fine. Yeah, this is also done by what is known as this process of reflection and maintaining a journal and sitting down and actually introspection. See, introspection is a process where you just close your eyes and try to get deep down into yourself. You try to understand yourself, and then probably connecting to yourself, you're able to identify the area of self-doubt. So I think this is one activity which will help you. And also this, also if you think you're close to a good friend and you're able to share and discuss, probably even your friend could help you, because there are times that when many students share that the friends are the first counselors they have. So this self-doubt, or sometimes even the mother or the father whom you can connect to, who's close to you. So if this doubt, in spite of this journaling and reflection, introspection, are not able to overcome, probably having a open-minded discussion with the person closest to you who will keep it confidential, I think that will also help. Okay. Yes. Any more questions?
Yeah, ma'am. There's
Yes.
one more.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how do we handle emotion outrages?
Yeah. That is included in my. I told you about psychological first aid. When you have, when you're experiencing the psychological, the emotional outrage, you said, right? The question is emotional outrage.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Emotional
Yeah,
outrage.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So, yeah, I told you about the technique of psychological first aid. In psychological first aid, when you're encountering a very difficult emotion, at that point of time, please take a few deep breaths, 4 to 5 deep breaths, okay? And that will supply more oxygen to the brain. You'll tend to feel better, and also do a lot of positive self-affirmation at that point of time. Like, I'm calm, I'm relaxed, and whatever you want to relate to any specific thing, but do it in the present tense. So you can actually write down those positive affirmations, and you need to practice for for self affirmation, positive affirmations to become a part of you. You have to do it for 21 days, and then it becomes a habit. So this is a very important technique. Any of you can use at any times of emotional distress or any other condition in which you feel overwhelmed. When you feel you're very disturbed, this is a very good technique. Okay, so this is it. Any more questions from the chat box?
Yes, ma'am. Like,
Yeah.
how do we maintain the consistency in thinking positively about ourselves and not let certain negative incidents affect us?
Yes, a very good question. Again, this is by challenging your thoughts. Okay, the challenging the negativity which comes from different sources. So, as I told you about this example of a student, right, who felt worthless. It was because, I think, because of the mother's comments that you're not good, you're bad in academics issues. So actually, when he reflected, and here also self-reflection is important, he understood he was a good student, maybe that 60 to 70%. He was doing well, but he had some issues with mathematics, and he thought he could work on that. So I think it's by a process of uh, uh, challenging the negative thoughts. So he kept telling himself, no, I'm good, I'm positive, I can do better. And he also told his mother, like, give me some time to work on it, and please do not be rude. So the process of communication and challenging negative thoughts will help in this process. Okay. Yes. Anything else? Any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Any other
I guess all
questions?
the questions are answered. No, ma'am.
Okay.
I
So
guess all the
next
questions
topic.
are answered.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'll move to the next topic. Okay. This is about how to reduce the stigma related to counseling. So this is a very important topic. Reduce the stigma of acceptance. This was actually a topic which Mr. Pavan and I discussed. So he felt many students, they have a lot of stigma related to counseling. So he asked me. I mean, he suggested the topic, and even I felt it, because I remember when one student walked into my room for counseling. I think a second sem student. Okay, so he got into my room and he sat down and he said, ma'am, can I ask you a question? I said, yeah, please do. Then he said, ma'am, this counseling session, like I'll be undergoing this counseling session. Are you going to share my details, all these details to my teachers? I said, definitely not. And I understood he was still feeling very apprehensive. And only after a few sessions, he became comfortable. So I'll be sharing the important factors related to this topic. So, you all understand the meaning of stigma. Stigma relates to the disgrace associated with the person, circumstance, issue, or event. Example, the avoidance or postponing meeting a counselor when in distress could be due to the stigma related to counseling. I have realized many students, I get information sometimes that they are very apprehensive and they avoid meeting me even when they have a distress. I think it's because the stigma factors. Now, it's very important the necessity of acceptance of the responsibility of mental health is by seeking counseling. And stigma may be due to lack of clarity, fear, conventional attitude about counseling. Now, there are a lot of this again is because of the lack of clarity of what counseling is. I'll be sharing in the end with an example. And many people they have a fear. They feel, what if the counselor reveals all my details to other person? I'll be answering all these questions in the following next slides. Uh, Overcoming the stigma of counseling. This is by accepting responsibility for one's life issues. And here also, you need to understand that each of your life issues are differences, are very different. For example, your family environment and the quality of people at home, your friends. So there are so many differences which exist. So for each of you, your life conditions itself are different. But you need to accept the responsibility for your life and understanding about the benefits of counseling. Benefits include understanding of one's own thoughts, emotions, behavior appropriately. And it will also help, counseling helps in the resolution of one's issues and clarity of self. I'll just make these points clear with the counseling case. See, counseling is, I think all of you know, it's the simplest meaning. It's when the counselor helps the client to overcome the problem or the issues, or it may be the area of educational guidance to help the client to perform better in academics, to achieve better grades with probably two techniques: time management I normally use, and also by using effective study skills. Now, what happens is in the first session, I try to understand the client's issues, what the issues. And normally in this context of college counseling, I have noticed three major areas. One is interpersonal area, the second one is emotional issues, and third one is academic issues. Sometimes it could be relationship issues, relationship with friends, or it can be relationship with the opposite sex. So the first session consists of understanding what the problem. So by understanding the issue, I tried to understand the client's thoughts, emotion, and I conveyed to him. So the client through this process, I think, receives resources to handle the problem, and I guide the client in solving the problem, whatever the issue is, by understanding the client. And the main objective of counseling is it reduces the distress which the person is undergoing, and it creates resilience, and it creates a better well-being component to the client. So at the end of it, when the problem is resolved, the client feels better. At the conclusion, I'll be discussing the entire case so that things become clearer. The stigma in context of college counseling. So this is what happened with one or two students. So for many students, they ask, it may be like, what if questions? Will my identity be revealed? If lecturers are aware of my counseling issues, and will the counselor reveal to my lecturer? Dear students, I want to assure you, confidentiality of student and the issue is strictly maintained. It is a non-judgment and empathetic attitude. For no reason do I share, because I understand, I respect each client for what they are, and with this respect comes confidentiality. So whatever happens, the discussion is just between both of us, and it's strictly maintained. However, I have to write records for college purposes, but I don't use the student's name, and I don't go into the depth of what the problem is. Suppose it's something related to academic, I say low academic performance, and the student was counseled with whatever I used, like I told you, study skills and time management. So I never reveal any of the details, because in counseling, confidentiality is very important, and it is the ethics which all counseling happens. So I would just like to end or conclude with a case, so that maybe you get a better idea of what counseling is. This is a student from BMSIT. Her name is Swati. Again, names have been changed to protect confidentiality. She came to me, I think, third semester, end of the third semester. She had this issue of emotional disturbances at home. She was facing disturbances from her mother, and she was feeling very distressed. So I offered her emotional support. Then I gave her tips on how to manage the improve her relationship. So I used a technique called CBT, that's cognitive behavioral technique, in which I helped her to how she could work with her thoughts and emotions, challenging negative thoughts. And then the second area was that of academic deficits. She had, I think, 55 marks and all the 3 semesters, and she had 2 backs. So she was very concerned. I think she started thinking about the final selections in the 8th sem placements. So, and she was very motivated. I think that was the most positive point. So I worked with this, and she used to meet me. I think we had about 15 to 18 sessions, and the outcome was, by the end of the 8th semester, I think fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh, her grades gradually improved to 6.5, then it was 7. I think the sixth, seventh, and eighth, it was almost 7.5. So finally, in the 8th sem, when she got placed into a reputed company, and she's doing extremely well. On the emotional front, she's more balanced, and also she used the techniques. The very important component I've seen in counseling, when clients come to me, is the level of motivation. There are clients who are motivated, there are those who are not. So those who are motivated tend to experience better results. And also the techniques which I discussed. Some clients, they stop the counseling in midway, do not come back, and the issue is just left halfway. Or sometimes they do not apply the techniques and they take it very lightly. So what happens is, the counseling becomes ineffective or useless. So what I would like to share is, dear students, and this is a very good platform to tell you that, please understand, my number will be shared in the group. I think it has already been shared. If you have any issue, please contact me. You can just mention your name, your class, and that you need an appointment. Immediately I'll reply to you, and we could have, right now I'm offering online sessions for all the students, and again, confidentiality is maintained. So this is about the end of it. And any questions, queries related to the stigma of counseling, please ask. Is there anything in the chat box? You can type now, or you have any queries, you can unmute and ask me. Please feel free to unmute and ask me. Yeah, are there any questions in the chat box?
No, ma'am, as of now.
Okay, okay. So I'll give you another 3-4 minutes. If any student wants to ask any question, please feel free to do so. And please share my number in the group, okay? Or even now I can tell you, my number is 944-9292-050. And every time I have met the different new groups, the first year groups have shared. Again, I repeat, Chetana, 944-9292-050. So if you feel there's something personal you want to ask or share, you can contact me on my WhatsApp, okay? So thank you, dear audience, for the patient listening. I'll still wait for another 2 minutes. If you have any questions, please unmute, or you can type it in the chat box. Okay, so I conclude that please try to please try to overcome the stigma, accept responsibility for your life, and understand that counseling is empowerment for you. Yes, yes. Thank you. I have finished. Any more questions?
I don't think, ma'am.
Okay, okay. So you can have the conclusion. Is there anything to conclude from your side?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. That was a very enlightening talk by you. We surely learned a lot. I personally have learned a lot. I do apply these uh, the things you have told us today to improve our psychological well-being. I do apply few of these, but I'm sure I'll apply more from now on. Thank you. It helped us a lot. I surely learned a couple of things today, and I'm sure all my friends have also. And
Oh,
it was really nice having you, ma'am. And I'm sure uh, we will be we'll be very happy after this.
so thank you so much, Simran and Madhumita. Thank you for the concluding remarks and your appreciation. Even I enjoyed doing the presentation. Thank you again, Mr. Pawan and group, for having provided me with this opportunity for this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you, ma'am.
you're
Could
welcome.
I request everyone to turn on your videos just for a second?
Yes, I would like to see this. Just a minute. Ganesha? Just a minute. I will just.